All right, dirtbags, listen up. There's gonna be some Alice in the house. Starting about now. So, now, God loves you. You know I loves you. Only because God loves you. And I gotta love you. Because if God loves you, I ain't got no business not loving you. Because I'm on this team, if you know what I mean. But have a look around. We're in the farmity farmlands of Florida somewhere. I don't know where I am. It's kind of raining. Dade City. I figured, well, here's a nice, quiet, dirty dirt road for this spectacular of all spectacular. Oh, wow, somebody over here taking a leak outside, right out the car door, thinking I'm not over here, looking right at them. I don't know if they're taking a leak or maybe they're getting sick out the side of that car door. I don't know what's going on. There's enough. Thank goodness there's enough shrubbery to spare me the full-on scene of the matter here. So let me get the camera just right because I'm about to get real serious, down and dirty with the new Alice McCoopage Road. Their latest release just came out earlier this month, and yes, it has taken me a while to get a hold of a physical copy of it. Let me tell you. There's the goop right there, gooping out on you, getting real goopy-like. You gotta like the album. Now here I'm gonna tell you everything I think about this album. I love this album. I am infatuated with this album. Let me calm down a little. But, yeah, it's hard getting physical copies of anything, and I hate ordering stuff. Well, I don't hate anything. I try not to hate anything as a Christian man. And the good book will tell you that I'm not about to hate like I used to be about to hate. I saw where that got me, and I ain't going back. But look at over here. This is very pretty, don't you think? Don't you think? But, so, you know, it's just a great album. The one before it was Detroit Stories, came out a little over 2 years ago. And, I mean, this man is now 75 years old exactly, and he's just prolific as all heck. You know, he tours with two bands at 75 years old. Hollywood Vampires, who has Joe Perry on lead guitars, Johnny Depp on backing guitar, member of Guns N' Roses, maybe on keyboards or whatever. Tommy Henriksen from this band, his touring band. Now I'm going to tell you everything I know right up until recent. Because I am an Alice aficionado of the highest order, and I'm here to tell you just about everything that comes to mind while we review this latest output of the Coop. Now, you would think, oh, Ray, you've loved Alice since freaking 1975. Well, you damn straight I do! I was 5 years old then. I saw him on TV. I had to stay up late to see him. I was like, Mom, I got to see that guy. I'm staying up. And he did some Halloween special, Welcome to My Nightmare came out. And I was just enthralled with this man with the gooey makeup, which he stopped using this portion. And I've been bitching about online and in certain talk rooms. Why did he drop this? And I might as well mention that too, because you don't see a full picture of him on the album except for this sort of picture. But now you got the makeup. He's got the 1971 makeup sort of mixed with the what came later in about 72, 73. And he dropped the mouth slashes, and he replaced them with smeared red or, lipstick, which, in this time period, Yeah, I just think it was a bad marketing move for him. I think, I don't know why. I think his face is getting so wrinkly now at 75. He probably can't get the slashes to stay put. They probably get all smeared as he sings, and his face is mushing around. And probably just, because I can't get it from another Alice fan what it is that, why he just dropped that makeup that's so iconic with his facial makeup ensemble, or however you pronounce that. So anyway, here it is. You got everybody. This is his first studio album with his touring band. Also, first album since 2012 that didn't offer a couple bonus tracks or additional tracks with his original band, because there were a couple albums there. Yeah, the last 3 albums had 2 to 3 songs from his surviving original member group, the Alice Cooper group, minus Glenn Buxton, who died in 1997. And but another interesting aside is that when this album was being recorded, also was another studio album. 75 years old! Recording 2 albums with 2 different bands, 3 different bands. He came out with the Hollywood Vampires second album 2 years ago, second studio album. But this, he recorded 2 at a time. The second one, there's not much being said about it just yet, is the full album, full studio album, first full studio album since 1974 of the original bandmates. Not Glenn Buxton, but I assume somebody from this band will fill in for Glenn. Or maybe Dick Wagner's dead. Somebody from from long ago who's still around, Mick Mashburn or whatever, maybe. Yeah, I do know my Alice, don't I? I know my Alice more than I realize sometimes when I start talking about it. But in any case, so he has another 2 studio albums already in the can. He could have released them both at the same time, but obviously he wants, to milk it, So, and they may be his last 2 albums. Come on, folks. He's 75, and I'm grounded in reality. I know none of us live forever. And anyway, so there's that album waiting to come out. He's already said that'll come out within a year. I think we're in the end times. You would think I was a Baptist Christian with, I'm so focused on the end times these days. I think something's going to happen any minute. If I get raptured out of this video right now, you know what happened. It wasn't the UFO beaming me up, is what, the official government excuse will be if we get raptured. But if it's either going to happen October 4th, something very tragic. I'm very afraid for us all, So I'm not even expecting to see the next Alice album, even though it's already recorded and mastered. It kills me knowing it exists, and I'll probably never hear it. Maybe on the other side we could hear it, if we even give a rat's ass by the time we're all back to heaven or hell. I don't think, depending on where you're going, or somewhere in between. I don't think we care so much on the other side. We're not removed from who we were in life if we go to hell, because, in heaven we get washed of all this. I don't want to turn this into a whole metaphysical type thing or whatever you call paranormal type thing. Yeah, because we're not talking paranormal. That was 2 albums ago. We're talking road, baby. Road! So let's get on the road with this release. I know we're talking a lot of bullshit. You would think I was stoned or something, but I'm not. But I've been getting a little too stoned lately every other day, and now I'm taking a little break again. But that's neither here nor here. But so here we go. Well, we'll do an unwrapping as well. So what you got is the original band. Now, what's Kane Roberts doing in there? Is that Kane Roberts over there? Sure. No. Yeah. Sure enough, it is. The Rambo of heavy metal. He came back for a short stint on the tour. while Nita Strauss went off to play with Demi Lovato, that Satanist freak of the mainstream. God, may God touch her heart and save her from the occult she is dabbling in. But and she's a far leftist, and she was using pronouns Demi Lovato. And I was like, Nita's going to, don't come back. Stick with that if you want, because she's running for the money, But obviously she realizes, there's not much future prospect in jamming with Alice. She's been with Alice since 2010 or 11 or so, maybe 12, maybe 13. I don't know, for a little while now, though, 10 years about. And she's like, well, this guy's gonna keel over eventually. I gotta look out for my own interest. But Demi Lovato, stick with the metal, girl. You're a metal guitarist. Find an established metal band like Tim Ripper Owens did. He went on to sing for Iced Earth when he got the can from Judas Priest, because Rob Halford came back, and now he's with KK's Priest. He's doing great. But anyway, back to this Road. I have serious brain damage, so sorry if I'm all over the place. My mind is going, inside. You can't see it because it's kind of sealed in there. It wasn't always. It was gushing out one end at one point, but that's a whole nother story you don't want to miss. Check out my playlist. You'll be surprised. I'm a blessed man. But anyway, there it is. Kane Roberts. He only contributes, I think, to one song on here that he wrote with Alice, and that's Dead Can't Dance, excuse me. And, he does a nice solo on the album, and it isn't his 80s solos. You can tell his fingers are a little stiff these days, but he lays down quite a nice solo regardless. So, respectable enough. And now you pull out this little number, and you got, that was from the 1971 Love It to Death album. They've been recycling it ever since, as a backdrop to live shows and Both Eyes usually. And now they got it as, sprayed on the street because it is Road. That's the name of the album, which I don't care for, but it makes sense, for the theme of the album. But so you got, all the lyrics as usual. Not much imagery, unfortunately, with this one. There hasn't been strong album imagery since maybe Paranormal. There wasn't much strong album imagery with Detroit Stories. Now, I didn't care for the Detroit Story. I didn't hate it. I love the Alice Group contribution. Was a single off the album. Forget the name of it right now. Now, there's the band. And on the road, naturally. And I didn't care for Road too much. I did, Detroit Stories. I think I did a review of that too, but good luck finding that on my page. It's maybe there somewhere. And then just lots of, what is that? Oh, they lit the album up. That is the album, the vinyl version of this album, on fire in the middle of the road, which that's pretty cool. It's pretty metal. I like that. But that's it. That's all you really see for the inside. And of course, what is that? Oh, I don't know. What is a Road doing on the album called Road? Hellfest. That says Hellfest. So, however many miles away there, But because along with this version of the CD release, you get the DVD of Hellfest. Now, in this, era of, everything's free, everything's downloadable, everything's pirated. I've already seen this on YouTube, this whole concert, pretty high quality, high definition. Got it out of my system, so I'll probably never watch this DVD. But it's a very good show. Now, it was, you don't hear nothing from this album because, it took place in 2022, I believe. So I'm waiting to hear some of the new songs live from this album. That'll be good. I haven't heard anything yet. So So that's cool. You know, I like seeing Alice peeking out, and then there's all the other band. Now Alice has so many guitars. He's no longer with. He replaced Nita Strauss, who I think is right there, and now she's back. But he showed up just, you know, because Alice is probably closest friends with Kane Roberts than any of these guys. You know, so he's known them a lot longer, since 85, 86. You know. Did 2 studio albums, Constrictor and Rayzer Fist and Yell, and a little bit of Trash, maybe some Hey Stupid contributions. So Kane Roberts has always been there on the side. You know, he's had a solo career that kind of petered out in the early '90s, where Kip Winger, who was also playing with Alice, who was also part of Alice's band at the same time, both of them discovered by Alice. Nobody's before that, and Kip Winger did a better solo career to this day, but still minute compared to Alice's. But they survive on their own, you know. Kip not so much, Kane not so much, but that's why I think Alice took Kane back to help him out a little bit. I didn't even like Kane Roberts' new studio album from about 2 years ago, and I tried to like it, but I liked his his late '80s stuff. So anyway, now to the listening of each song. So we've gone through. I think we've looked at everything here. Indeed. You know, background, we got some barbed wire, not much to see there. You know, leaves one wanting. But you know, we are so blessed just to have so much Alice Cooper output as major fans or mild fans. We got Ozzy Osbourne, who hadn't put an album out in 10 years. Then finally, since in 2020, until now, put out 2 studio albums, Patient Number 9, and before that, Ordinary Man. Now, why do I bring up Ozzy? Because he is UK's counterpart to Alice Cooper, as far as I'm concerned. This is an ongoing debate for a long time, who invented heavy metal, Black Sabbath or Alice Cooper. I argue Alice, because his first studio album came out 1 year before the first Black Sabbath album. First Alice album, 1969. First Sabbath, 1970. First Alice, Pretty's For You. First Black Sabbath, self-titled. And listen to them both. Sabbath sounds more dark and heavy, certainly, you know. But if you listen to First Alice, hard to listen to, very erratic and bizarre and bombastic, I like to think. Listen to Fields of Regret. Tell me that ain't the first doom metal song before anyone even heard of Sabbath. Now, when Alice released his first album in '69, nobody heard of him until 1971 with his first hit song. But you know, the record it's on record. So first song is I'm Alice, and maybe you'll hear a little bit in the background. Has a nice little boom, 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 boom. Wow. Know what you want. I know what you need. A little bit of this and possibly some of that. I know the lyrics already, but to satisfy your soul. But yeah, so I love this song. It's very $1 Billion Babies-esque. All right, so you heard a little bit of that. Everybody's heard this album out because it's been out nearly a month now, I'm sure already by now. And my review of it's coming out late, of course, but I wanted to give it a good listen. I didn't have the actual album until days ago. I had to go down to Tampa, all the way down to Tampa to retrieve a copy, and even then they had to pre-order it. They had special order for me, and there was vinyl there, and it was tucked away, and they had all these stupid ones posted up on the wall. I said, this one's going down, and the Alice is going up. I always do that at record stores. I help Alice out on sales, you know, because these dumbasses, you know, that don't give a fuck, these dumb, you know, Gen Z, Gen whatever they are now, morons, no idea of how cool Alice is. Way cooler than anything they could ever come up with today. will it just be timelessly cool as hell, cooler than any band, period, except Black Sabbath. They're almost equal. But arguably, who's cooler? I don't know. I love them both. They're my two favorites. But anyway, so that is the opening track. I'm Alice. It's like it's about his band being on the road. Let's talk about what being Alice is all about, and that's what the song's all about. It's big introduction. He never did a song self-referentially. I don't think. Maybe slight nods to himself here and there, but this song's all about his dual role as Vincent Furnier and Alice Cooper. And it's just a powerhouse song. I mean, it's a great opening song. It has a little bit of "I'm Elected" at the end, which, I was like, okay, but it's his song, whatever. I was like, okay, if you want to make a song feel like your earlier sound, do you have to do it by ripping off your earlier songs? But maybe so you do. It's hard to recapture this, 70s, 50 years later. But so there's that song. Now we will go on to the next song, which will be "Welcome to the Show." Ooh, this is fucking just rotten, snarling, sleazy, everything you love about Alice. I know how. My lips are red, my eyes are black. Now that goes back to, me not being too happy with his new makeup ensemble. He even wrote about it lyrically on the new album, But look at this guy. We got some good old boys down this old dirt road. But, so there's that. That's just kind of a semi heavy metal, hard rock song right there. Welcome to the show. It's all about, the excitement of a live Alice show and everything that entails. So top hat entails, I should say. So there's that, and a very, very good song. So now we're off to a really good, strong start. First two songs are friggin' barn burners, burning down the barn, and with those two. Now we got what do we got? I love them. I love them. Now listen. A little more horn. I could have used a little more horn. Hey, champagne. And I wound up on a train. Just love it. That ooh is very original Alice Cooper group style. Know it's all about the show. We kill it wherever we go. Now, you know these songs, so I don't have to keep playing them. And if you don't, shame on you. Maybe you will after this review. So, this is a very horn section, sort of heavy song, laden song, and I think it could be more so. I think that began with the Alice persona musically with 1971's Killer. With the Red Album with the snake head on the cover. That was Under My Wheels had a horn section, and that would have definitely been due to Bob Ezrin's influence, I'm sure, because he was such a, he contributed that very Broadway-esque theater Jewish songwriting thing that was so big in Hollywood that he was very influenced by. Not knocking Jews, but it's very Jewish. A lot of Jews escaped Hitler's Germany, and some went to Hollywood and became songwriters and famous songwriters. So some of the songs from the 30s, the 40s, 50s, and that Wizard of Oz and whatever. But so that got into the Alice witch's pot, that made everything we know and love about Alice, that horn section. So that's that kind of song right there. I'm drowning out. The rain's coming in. Let me use some snot rags and I'll clean it up, I spread my snot around here. But at least it'll be dry snot, not just, rain coming down all over me. So there's that. I love that song. That's, an upbeat pop, and it has moments of like creepy Alice, even throughout such an upbeat song like that, he's just in top vocal form too, There's only one song in the I'm Alice when he does a spoken word section, and you could hear the age, the elderliness in his voice, because the music's toned down, and he just says, he just starts speaking in a spoken word section, and raining on and off here all day, but his voice sounds weak there. Just the only time I notice his voice sounds weak at all. Elsewhere, it's like he must have. Bob Ezrin must have made him listen to the first 3 albums over and over and over to remember his, his earlier nature. You've been doing this for over 50 years. You forget who you were. People change every 7 years, they say, psychiatrists. Imagine, mentally. So he has to rediscover his old self at times, to try and bring that back, not only musically, but vocally and lyrically. You got to write like you used to, think like you used to, if you're going to do a retro album like this. Now, when I didn't hear one song yet from this album, I thought, oh wow, this band is his heavy metal band. You got Nita on lead guitars, you got 3 lead guitars basically, but that trade off, almost like Iron Maiden these days also has a heavy guitar section, about the same size, I think. But let's move on. I'm sure this is going on quite a bit. We're already a half hour into this. I want to finish this off at a half hour. Let's see if we can do it. Next song. This is the Kane Roberts song. Alice, The Dead Can Dance, sick tune. It's all about The Dead Can't Dance. I wonder, if he was inspired by The Dead Can Dance. I wonder if The Dead Can Dance would have a problem with this song, because they're like, no, we've been saying since the early 80s, maybe late 70s, that the dead can dance. Not can't, but Alice comes along and said, no, I know about the dead a little bit more than Dead Can Dance, and I'm telling you that Dead can't dance. But I think it's more about, I don't know, check it out. It's a badass song. I don't like the bam, ba-dum, bam, ba-dum, bam. It's not very Kane Roberts. I was hoping it was going to feel more like a, Raise Your Fist and Yell or a Constrictor type song, but it almost kind of got a bluesy feel, except when he goes into his guitar solo. But it's still a great song, a spooky, heavier song that actually sounds more like Brutal Planet Dragontown to me, and Kane Roberts wasn't on those 2 albums at all. But so next song, love every song so far. Next song is the 5th song, and I'm an old man, so I need these freaking things. Oh, go away. Man, people are so nosy. Karens, male and female, everywhere these days. But So there's that. That is Go Away. And that's more of like a 50s style. There's two 50s styles rock and roll songs on this album. Detroit Stories had one 50s style. The real Alice fans will know which one I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of it. But, and this one, just a 50s Elvis, early Elvis sort of rock and roll style to this song. And it's all about the women you meet on the tour road as a band, and the one that you just can't get rid of. She shows up at every show, and she's a stalker basically. But just one of his more humorous tracks, and it's good. It's not one of his better, but I still enjoy that. I think everything seams well into each other. It's all got the same mesh to it, the same fabric, the same texture. Each song, there's a big word. I like to use it right now and impress you all, but it's not coming to mind. So, I can open the window again. It's seamless so far. All right, here comes your next Karen, but nobody's probably ever used to anybody pull over on the side of these back roads. I don't even know where I am. But next song, that's a good song. But I think we're gonna finally lose. Yeah. Oh no. Okay. This is Feed My. No. This is Feed My Frank. I almost said Feed My. Because White Line Frankenstein. Now listen to that. That's another heavy, Brutal Planet type, Dragontown type riff. Now, very, very powerful Alice vocals, but he's kind of a thin vocal. He sounds to me like if a snake could sing. That's what That's what Alice sounds like to me. And ideally, he wears a snake during his live show sometimes. A live snake, live show. But, so that's too beefy, too bassy of a song for his voice, I think. It's very Sabbathy type song, Black Sabbath. And I don't think his voice really works with it that well. I mean, of course, I love it. It's anything Alice I love. I'm a major fan. But he's also got that guy, I don't know, from Rage Against the Machine, on lead guitar for this song. Thank God it's only this song. And I don't like that guy because I'm an outspoken political man, and I'm a right-wing Christian conservative, unapologetically, quite proud, in fact. And though I love all, I know lots of people don't love me back, unfortunately, because they don't got God's love in them, and that's a shame. But and yet they think they're superior somehow, and they're the good guys. But maybe we're the baddies. You ever think about that? Because it ain't us. We're doing the good. But I made it political again. Darn it, I can never stay away from that shit. But you might as well know. I'm not trying to win over everybody. Alice just got caught up also. And days after the album dropped, Road dropped, he got dropped by a makeup company, a gothic, vampiric makeup company that was very woke, very leftist. And he spoke out during a road interview, promoting the album. Somebody asked about this LGBTQ, etc., insanity that's taken the world by storm unexpectedly. Just supremacy. LGBTQ is supremacy. Rainbow Nazi flags everywhere, and he had some strong words about it, and I was so proud of him. I was like, wow, look it up, the videos on it. So they dropped him, and he probably lost, I don't know, God knows how many hundreds of thousands of dollars on that deal. But he stood his ground. They're ultra woke. I forget the name of them already, or I'd say boycott their dumbasses. Like we boycotted, Target and Bud Light, and now boycotts are really taking hold, and they're really hurting these companies like they ought to, because these people are pushing anti-American, evil nonsense, and I don't mind talking about it. If you can't handle it, bye-bye! There's the door. There's one here, too. There's even two in the back. Take your choice, kid. There's even one that way. I don't recommend that one. It's a little far back there. You might have to do a little crawling. I might end up doing one of these, too. Get your ass out of here. Okay, now we're over a half hour, and I've gotten into politics, but that's my brain damage, kids. Take me or leave me. And so now that was 6. That's when things start getting a little shaky for me, but I like it. It's a strong song, but not my kind of song. Now this is Baby's Got Boots. Big Boots or some shit. Another rock and roll. This is the other 50s style rock and roll song. There's our producer on piano, Bob Ezrin. You know, strong. Oh, there goes the sheriff. He's going to come over and question what the hell I'm parked here for, and now I'm screwed. But, great. Yep, sure enough. What a life. I can't stand it. Gonna get interrupted doing an Alice album reveal. But, so that song's very humorous. I like it, but I don't. You know, I could take it or leave it. That's when the album starts to get a little shaky for me. It does pick up again at some point. I could say more about that, but we're running late. I didn't want this to run over a half hour. I'm sure I lost more than half of you, and that's about 4 people. So next song we have ba-ding, bang, boom, bam, ba-dootin', squattin', dootin' down. All right, so this song, a 1, 2, 3. Stand and then you rock. You gotta roll. All right, so that is getting back to what I'm talking about. I do like that song. That song is called, you like these reading glasses of mine? Rules of the Road. Okay, so that's Alice, being the elder statesman that he is, doing a song about telling younger bands, all right, you want to make it in this biz? Here's what you got to do, kid. You're not going to like it. But it ain't what it was, you know, in his time. He's not making money off this. You know, he's doing it for the fans. He said it himself. He's doing these for the fans these days. There was a time when you made big money off an album release. He hasn't had a chart hit significant since 1989, I think. And that's fine. Now he's well established. He's well off, and now he's just doing it for the people that stuck by him for so long. All right, so that song is great. I love it. Now it's, you know, the last 2 songs not so much, but now he's up the ante again. Now some people are going to love those last 2 songs. Some people like him for his humorous content. Not so much me. I tolerate it. I'm glad he does it, but I can live without it. It's, you know. So there's that, and then now we are doing The Big Goodbye. Listen to that heavy metal riff. Woo! Hot! Baby! You're looking for it. You don't give a damn. Tomorrow I'll be moving on. Real gritty lyrics. Real grisly vocals. Reminds me of a lot of his attitude on Love It to Death and Killer. You know, so just love it. Just love it! That is a strong song. And so there we go. That's track 9. Then we're going to track 10, Road Rats Forever. And I'll just move into it. This is a you'll recognize it. It's a cover of his earlier music. Thank goodness. From that song, originally, it's an Alice Cooper song from 1977, off the Lace and Whiskey release. It was a single off there. Road Rats. Now it's called Road Rats Forever. And a lot of the younger fans or the moderate fans will be like, wow, that's an interesting song. It doesn't quite sound like the rest of the album. Why? Because it sounds It has unique riffage. It's very musical. It sounds unique. Where I don't think we can write unique songs today. I don't care how talented you are. I think everything that can be written has been written because, going back to the end times, I think the world's just wrapping up. The human mind's creative concepts, we've just done it all, musically at least. And, I mean, in every way, creatively. And, so now we're rehashing so much stuff, and it's fine. It is what it is. But this is better than the original. I'll say that. I like it. The production is obviously better. The drumming is amazing. The drumming is hard to do in the original song. So, what's his name on here? Sobel did a fantastic job covering the drumming on that. I think it's interesting for fans to say, "Oh, that's a unique song," and not even know it's an old Alice song. But so there's that, and then we got, and it makes sense because it's a song about being on the road. So, and this is the one ballad on the album. I don't think he did a ballad on the last album, Detroit Stories. But this is a pretty touching ballad. He hasn't done a ballad that made me actually, get a little watery-eyed since The Eyes of Alice Cooper, The Watery Eyes of Alice Cooper. There was a song on there, I forget the name of it now, but that was the strongest ballad in a long time. And I'm not a big fan of his ballads. I think he's he's very skilled at writing, deep, meaningful ballads, and he's got a good tender voice when he wants to. This song's about, sorry, honey, I got to go on the road again. I don't know how long I'll be gone this time, a few months, whatever, just like a trucker's life. Might be the trucker's life, might be the road crew of any lighting engineers, guitar techs, everybody he's speaking for in these songs, White Line Frankenstein actually mentions doing cocaine. That's a little racy for Alice too. But, and then another song about to come up talks about a little more speed and I'll be home, talking about doing speed to stay awake, to keep driving. Just talking about the realities of the road, some of the uglier ones too, just trying to keep it real. He's not suggesting you should do drugs, but yeah, that rock and roll lifestyle, yeah, there was some drugs involved, and you got to mention it. He's not condoning it, to mention it. So there's that song, a touching little ballad, not his best, but stronger, pretty strong. This is the spooky song. Now Alice always does 1 to 3 spooky songs. Hasn't done a good spooky song in my opinion since, once again, The Eyes of Alice Cooper, 2002 when that came out, and This House is Haunted. That's a great spooky song, and it's got the same instruments being used as this song does. This song's got a little bit of Jane's Addiction section to it. Reminds me of Ocean. This one part that comes up. It's really strange to me. Now, what Alice is talking about in the song is not scary at all, but musically it's a scary song, instrumental wise, So, he wanted to give us that scary song for the fans that love him for his scary stuff. And I'm glad, because that's who I am. I love him for his scary stuff. Wow, is this going on an hour? This is ridiculous. How is this going on so long? Well, it's just 100 more miles till I'm home. This is the Ocean song, from Jane's Addiction, that big power. And the new Patient Number 9 Ozzy album has a section like that in one song. I can't think of it. That remind me of the Ocean song from Jane's Addiction. The only album I like from Jane's Addiction. So there's that song. That's a strong song. I love it. Now here's another cover, but not an Alice covering Alice. This is Alice covering The Who, which is one of my least favorite rock and roll bands of all time. One step under the Doors. What is it with The Who, the Doors, everything like that back then? Alice sings it very well. It's a very good cover. It's a heavier cover of it. I don't mind that song from The Who. I just don't like The Who necessarily. Good old boys. And I think that was the Dukes of Hazzard right there. In any case, that was the ending song, and Sobel goes into a drum solo like you do at a live show, somewhere in the middle of that song. Very good drum solo. And apparently everybody from this band, wrote and recorded the album on the road, and then went to a certain studio without Alice Cooper, recorded everything instrumentally, 1 or 2 takes, live, all playing it together, no overdubs. And then Alice somewhere else came in and wrote the lyrics later and dropped his vocals over it, and that's how he did it. I'm sure Alice did plenty of double takes, because he's 75. I don't mind if he did. I'd expect him to. I don't know if he did, but I know he didn't sing all these songs right along with these guys, so he had to take his time. But I'm glad he did, And so this is a very strong album. I love it about equally with Paranormal that came out before Detroit Stories. I don't think there was anything in between that, other than Hollywood Vampire stuff and other things, which is all very good. Hollywood Vampires to me is like an Alice Cooper album, because with him singing, why isn't it Alice Cooper? It doesn't matter. So I love the Hollywood Vampire stuff, and that's it. There's your review of Road from Alice Cooper, and I can't highly look. I'm way up here trying to recommend this thing. You want me to fall and kill myself? Buy the stinking album and get out of here with your bullshit.